I walk 32,000 steps a day, and I've started to notice that people are treating me differently. So let's dive into this very recent phenomenon, especially after I started walking over 30,000 steps a day. So the first thing I noticed was how my closest friends and family members started treating me, especially after I started giving them frequent updates on my daily step goal progress. The most shocking of all for me was my dad. My dad has always been someone who I've regarded as a very close confidant. In fact, even a best friend of mine. And he was always someone that I constantly went to kind of let him know about my achievements and escapades in school, my academic milestones. And then as soon as I became all gung-ho on my own fitness journey back in 2024, with daily walking, with doing at-home total body workouts, and of course tracking my calories and macros and micronutrients as I cut down for the very first time to 9.7% body fat, I told my dad, basically I gave him a blow-by-blow account of everything I was accomplishing on a periodic basis. And at first, he seemed pretty excited. He sounded almost excited as I was. But eventually, he just became a little bit more subdued, and he wanted to always constantly change the subject over to work. He wanted to just say, oh, that's nice. So what's happening at work? Did you get that big commission? Did you close that big project at work? So he started to preemptively change the subject every time I brought up my fitness goals. And only recently, as of this year, when I crossed into walking over 30,000 steps, that also became something that I wanted to share with him. Kind of let him know about where I was, how I had basically evolved from walking over 22,000 steps last year to now over 32,000 steps. It was exactly as I expected. He immediately started changing the subject. But what was truly eye-opening for me was when he indirectly, or now when I think about it, he was actually giving me a direct signal right there. He told me that you shouldn't be telling people about exactly how much you're walking on a daily basis. He told me that this was something that most people wouldn't find to be as a normal activity, that no one would care about this. And he wasn't actually referring to other people. He was actually expressing his own opinion about me walking over 30,000 steps. He felt uncomfortable. He didn't actually want to know about me making progress towards this daily step goal, progressively overloading on my daily steps. So I learned that my dad actually didn't care about my fitness goals. He was just like everyone else, someone who felt kind of insecure about the progress that I was making on my own body, on my own health and fitness. And this is actually a reality. People, especially those who, aren't in the same arena as you are, they're not actually actively, cutting down body fat. They're not very active during the day, walking or doing high intensity cardio or any type of activity that maintains their cardiovascular fitness, let alone going into the gym and lifting weights to maintain muscle. Unfortunately, I'm probably the only person in my family who's very health conscious, and I actually come from a family of doctors, engineers, scientists, and for them, work has always been the utmost priority at the expense of their health and fitness and ultimately their body. So they've never gone to the gym. They've never gone outside for walks, let alone any type of, cardio. And weighing your food at mealtime or while you're preparing your meals is something, frankly, out of left field for them. So whenever they see me whip out the kitchen scale as I'm preparing my meals, they smirk amongst each other, or they just think I'm plain weird. So the reaction that my dad had to me walking over 30,000 steps was the first shocking realization that people are starting to treat me differently. Second realization was other folks who were kind of closer to my age group. Of course, you would probably expect that from folks that are, octogenarians like my dad, recently turning 80 last year. He'll be turning 81 next month. My brother, who I haven't necessarily been very close with, was someone that I also started kind of sharing some of my, especially daily walking goals. And that actually sounded very exciting to him initially. He started his own walking journey. He set up Apple Health, downloaded MyFitnessPal, and got super excited, super enthusiastic about kind of following in my footsteps as well. So he started walking 10,000 steps a day, and he would periodically send me screenshots of everything he'd done on a daily basis. That I walked 10,000 today, I walked 12,000 the other day, I didn't hit 10,000, but I was still at 8,000. So these were the messages that I was getting alongside screenshots. So I was super excited for him, hopeful that he was going to continue that streak. But at some point, maybe he got discouraged. Maybe he just got really busy and stressed out from work, and those updates just stopped coming in. And moreover, when I started to update on him on my own progress, and I was constantly just stacking up streak after streak of walking over 20,000 steps, and this was also coinciding with the time that I was running my Acestar lifestyle channel last year. And I started sending him links to those videos where I was reiterating the same things that I was sending him in message form. Basically, how many steps I had walked, what my current diet plan was, what my workout routine was currently in the gym. Or at that point, I think I was still doing a combination of at-home workouts and at the gym. And his reaction basically followed the same course as that of my dad. So he basically shut off as well, or should I say shut down as well, and stopped asking follow-up questions, and once again started changing the subject. So whenever you're enthusiastic about something, whenever you have like a goal in mind and you start sharing details of that goal or sharing details of your progress towards that goal, and if that person, a parent, a sibling, or a family member, or even like a so-called best friend, changes the subject or just becomes really quiet on the other end of the phone, that's proof that they don't care, number one. And number two, they might just be extremely envious of you. That's something that they know is unattainable to them because they don't have that same discipline. They don't have that same drive and determination to carry out their goal. These goals, or these fitness, you can call them fitness goals. These fitness goals, walking over 20,000 steps a day, being in a calorie deficit long enough to strip off body fat, get down into below 15% body fat to be officially in the lean category, and then of course maintaining muscle mass and ultimately building muscle mass over time by going into the gym 3 times a week. These aren't difficult goals. These aren't difficult steps to implement. Anyone can do this. If I can do this without zero help, without zero coaching from anyone, then anyone watching my videos or anyone that I constantly communicate my goals about can carry these out. It just comes down to execution, and it just comes down to how much you actually want to accomplish these goals, how important these goals are to you. And if your health, your fitness, and your body is not a priority in your life, it doesn't matter if I give you the entire step-by-step blueprint. You're not going to care, and ultimately you're not going to implement it in your own life. So that was the second thing that I noticed. When my sibling, my brother, my only now, unfortunately, the only sibling that who's currently alive to this point that I have, stopped caring as well. Similar for my ex-spouse. So obviously, when we were still together, I was sedentary as hell. I never went to the gym, and I definitely didn't follow a regimented meal plan. I was eating tons of junk food, tons of ultra processed ultra processed food, right? Highly processed food, fast food in particular, door dashing all the time. So when we separated and we went our own ways and I started living by myself in Palm Bay, Florida, I started to walk, of course, over 10,000 steps, and then I started cooking my own meals, and I just was sending screenshots one after the other to her to kind of let her know that, oh, I made some salmon today, I cooked a chicken salad the other day, this was my dinner, oh, by the way, this is how many steps I walked today. At first she was like, oh, that looks pretty cool, or that looks nice, oh, you made this yourself? But eventually she also disconnected, and basically stopped replying to any of those messages. At one point, I think I was visiting her. I was visiting one of my dogs who stays with her now, a German Shepherd, and I was basically letting her know that, oh, I have to go and finish up a couple more steps. I'm about a half an hour away from achieving my 22,000 step goal for the day. And she basically remarked that it was an abnormal goal. It was so weird that nobody did that. And yeah, that was as direct as she can be. Basically, she didn't appreciate my fitness goal. She didn't appreciate my my commitment to high volume daily walking. So yet another example of how people started to treat me differently, when the very people that at one point I thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life with stopped giving a crap and actually considered me a weirdo for being so health conscious. I mean, that was an eye-opener right there. The third thing I noticed was the reaction that I received from my coworkers. I made the cardinal sin. In fact, this was, I think, the first day I was introduced as the manager of a brand new engineering team, and I told the folks that were reporting to me, I basically invited everyone to share a tidbit about themselves, like something that no one else would know about them. So I shared as my own, factoid that I have a personal walking goal of walking over 32,000 steps a day. I mean, at first, all of these guys are reporting to me, so obviously they're going to be sucking up and they're going to be super disingenuous about that. And they were like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's nice. Wow, that's a lot of walking. Oh, that's impressive. And occasionally, a couple of the younger folks on the squad would ask me how far I was with my steps for the day. But eventually, and I might have already alluded to this on my channel in previous videos, but word started spreading around the office place. It started spreading through the grapevine that, I was always walking around, that I was this freakazoid who concentrated so much on daily walking that hardly ever sat down, that eventually when some of that gossip reached up to me, I realized that I had messed up severely by even sharing that goal in the first place. So I stopped answering those questions that I would sometimes get about my daily walking progress. And one time I just had to basically shut one of them up. They were asking me, how many steps I had walked, or if I was on my treadmill during the meeting. And I had to immediately interject and tell them to just focus on the projects. This is a meeting regarding project updates, so let's just talk about project updates. And after that, I don't think I ever got a question again about my daily walking. So, third reaction and third realization that I experienced in terms of how I was being treated differently. And obviously, this goes for anything that you share with coworkers. Your coworkers are not your friends, right? There's no such thing as a work family. That shit that you see on The Office is not real. That doesn't happen in real life. People are not close to one another. Inside the workplace, they're just pretending. And outside the workplace, they're as good as your enemies. With coworkers like that, who needs enemies, right? So that's exactly what it is. And if you're in the corporate world, it's always going to be cutthroat as hell. So people are always going to be reaching for your gullet and more than willing to step on your neck in order to get ahead. So whatever you do, you may be able to get away with sharing your health and fitness goals with your friends and family members, but don't make that unforgivable sin of sharing your goals, health and fitness wise, especially with your coworkers. So now let's talk about the fourth example of people treating me differently when I started walking over 30,000 steps. It's actually happened ever since I started this YouTube channel. So on previous YouTube channels, I would do most of my recording from home. Obviously, some of those videos were scripted. Very few of those videos were raw, off the cuff, unfiltered type of videos. Definitely not a lot of these walk-in talks where I'm sharing all of this personal information and some, underrated walking hacks and walking tips. And as it just so happens, I've already had 2 occasions already while filming these videos. I think I'm about 21, 22 videos into this channel. And one time, I think I was walking around this street. In fact, I'm just gonna turn around right here. I don't want to relive that experience, but I think it was like a Monday or Tuesday after morning around the same time, 10 a.m. And I actually got stopped by a cop. He was very curious to know what I was doing on a relatively secluded street mid-morning, basically recording myself, seemingly talking to myself into this DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And I had to basically tell him that I'm just filming a YouTube video and I'm providing some health and fitness tips. So obviously there was nothing for him to punish me or penalize me for. So he just told me to just go walk on some other street or take my recording elsewhere. Maybe he got a complaint from somebody nearby, or maybe he just took it upon himself to kind of get out of his squad car and exercise some of his authority. So that was one example of people, becoming really weird or considering me to be the weird one. And then the second weird occurrence occurred actually yesterday. I was filming a walk and talk for Sunday's video, and this guy was driving by my apartment complex and he just randomly stopped and he just wanted a shout out in my blog. First of all, this ain't a blog. I might give you guys a couple of vlogs when I'm in Brazil a month later, so looking forward to that. But again, I don't want to bore you with, more personal details. I want to actually give you guys some valuable health and fitness and high volume daily walking advice while I'm showing you guys out and about. Maybe running errands, maybe at a supermarket, showing you guys what I eat, maybe even filming a complete total body workout at a Brazilian gym. So stay tuned for that. But the point is, the guy wanted a shout out. He wanted his 15 seconds of fame. So I had to just pan the DJI over to him. And I think he just basically gave a shout out to the Nova area as like the best area in town or in the States. And then he just drove off, which was kind of a weird thing. But it was just another example of people being very curious about a person who is just walking around on their own, talking to a DJI Pocket Osmo or Osmo Pocket, and wanting to either find out what you're up to or at least become a part of that, right? Live vicariously through that, through your experience. So that's not as bad, but at the same time, I know when I was in another part of Virginia last year, filming videos for the Acestar lifestyle channel, oftentimes I would come across folks walking and they would see me walking and talking and basically recording my videos, and I would hear some derogatory comments delivered my way. So obviously I ignored those comments, but that's basically what you're going to encounter some of the times. Not everyone is going to be super nice, not everyone is going to be going about their way. Most people are just, for them it's very foreign and very strange to see somebody doing a walk and talk in vivo. So as a result, be prepared to hear some of those comments, and not only while you're recording videos, but in your comment sections of your videos as well. I've already started to get some hate as well. But what I'm doing this time around is, instead of directly engaging hate comments, trolls, if you will, I'm just deleting them. As soon as I recognize the negativity and I realize that that particular bullshit comment doesn't contribute any sort of value to everyone else commenting and trying to learn something from my videos, I'm not gonna engage. So I'm just gonna go ahead, delete that comment, and maybe even block that guy or gal for my channel. So that's my approach with the Acestar Fit channel, and I intend to continue that moving forward. The last thing that I've noticed is the change within myself. Not necessarily a change that I've noticed from other people, but as a result of everything that I've shared in this video. And I've just stopped giving a crap about what people think about my daily walking habit, right? I go into the office, I'm gonna grab an office, a conference room that's empty, so I can walk around to eat my meals, or walk around to take conference calls, or walk around to answer emails and Slack messages. And if someone walks in on me doing that, I have no problem. You can watch. Whatever your opinion is about how I choose to crank out my steps on a day-to-day basis bears no significance to me. As you get older, and I'm definitely getting up there in age, you start to care less and less about what other people think or say about you. So that's essentially now my philosophy in life. I don't care what people think about me. I am going to continue to pump out videos on a daily basis, and I'm going to continue to impart, at least to me, very useful knowledge about walking, high volume daily walking over 30,000 steps. Everything that I know about walking over 20,000 steps, 30,000 steps a day, and giving you guys daily updates on my own progress. I'm not just talking to talk, but I'm also going to be walking and actually sharing with you guys my experience. You're going to see me live during these videos, actually making real strides towards my daily step goal, and then I'll be including those screenshots of my total steps walked for the day in the community section. So this is my philosophy now. For me, this is my religion, right? Daily walking over 30,000 steps a day, working out at the gym 3 times a week to continuously build more muscle as I get older, and of course, following a diet that's comprised 100% of single ingredient whole foods. And you're going to also see screenshots of everything I eat on a daily basis in the community section as well. It remains to be seen if I decide to cut up some of these long form videos into shorts. Frankly, I don't have a lot of time on a daily basis to crank out shorts, whether I use any of these like AI tools nowadays that they have for chopping up long forms into shorts. But that's probably something to think about for the future. For now, I'm very, very pleased by how my channel is progressing, and that has almost everything to do with your support, number one, and then number two, to the fact that I have a next video up mentality. Every time I post a video, I'm already thinking about the next video. And similarly, every time I knock out 32,000 steps in a day, I'm already thinking about tomorrow and what I need to do in order to guarantee that I walk over 30,000 steps the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and continue this gravy train as long as I can. So, just walk, baby.